Hey guys, Nishquick here. So I'm trying to get this video out by around June 12th, which means it would be out by the 1 month anniversary of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I want to talk about why Tears of the Kingdom is so successful, because right now, I just went up on Metacritic again. It is a 95 on Metacritic, solid 95, fantastic review scores, so many 10 out of 10s. And also, many of us know that on the first weekend alone, the game sold 10 million copies. That is insane. And for a little perspective, Tears of the Kingdom on its first weekend has outsold the entirety of Ocarina of Time on the N64. It has come close to outselling Twilight Princess on the GameCube, Wii, and the Wii U, and it has reached about a third of the lifetime copies of Breath of the Wild. And I really want to talk about why Tears of the Kingdom has reached this high level of acclaim, stardom, and popularity, and what that means for the video game industry, because this game is a game just running on the dingy old 6-year-old Nintendo Switch hardware. 2015 technology, mobile hardware, but this game is doing things that no other video game is doing. And I want to talk about that today. So if you enjoy videos like this, if you enjoy Nintendo content, RPG games, Zelda, Xenoblade, Persona, all that kind of stuff, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this so you do not miss another upload from yours truly. Alright, so let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So first of all, I want to talk about what do I look for in a game? What do I personally, Nishquick, what do I look for? Well, I have the 3 pillars that I personally look for in a game. And these are personal pillars. People might look for other things, whereas I prioritize these 3 things. The number one most important thing is the gameplay. I am playing a game for the gameplay. If the gameplay is boring, then why even play a game? Well, also, some gameplay mechanics not necessarily are boring, but they just don't gel with me. They don't vibe with me. That whole Telltale Games kind of mechanic, or something like Detroit Become Human, I fall asleep during those games. I can't play them. I just cannot. I'm sorry to the people who enjoy those games. Those are snooze fests for me personally. What is pillar number 2 for Nishquick? Pillar number 2 for me personally is the story. The story has to be nice, compelling, with good characters, with relatable scenarios, and just really good lore and world building. That really amps up the engagement and the immersion for me. And the last thing is a little more personal. A lot of people don't really look for this in a game. It is the music. If a game does not have a good soundtrack, I am not going to be as immersed into the game. I'm not going to have that immersion, I'm not going to have that relatability, I'm not going to be really into this whole experience and the world building of the game. And that's one really big thing that really sold the Xenoblade Chronicles series for me. But that's just me. Let's talk about what other people see in a game and what they prioritize and what their kind of standards are. Because I see people online who look at games on the Switch and say, well, this doesn't look very good. This is very blurry. This is very sub 1080p, not even 720p, very jagged, very dull visuals. So that's one thing I've always seen with criticism for Nintendo Switch games. But a lot of people are saying, where's the 4K? Where's the 60 FPS? Where's the realistic graphics? So I feel like a lot of gamers nowadays are really focusing on a lot of these things. Realism and realistic graphics, that 4K, that 60 FPS, all of those techie buzzwords. And I feel like sometimes people go into gaming with these buzzwords in their head and they don't even know what it is that is enhancing the experience with 4K and 60 FPS. Graphics and performance are some things that other people look for in a game. I do as well. Since I have a PS5, a gaming PC, and the Nintendo Switch, sometimes I will not buy a game on the Nintendo Switch because I can get it on PC and it would run and look a lot better. But sometimes it would be the other way around. If there's a game on PC but I want to play it on handheld and I don't care about the graphics, I'll get it on the Switch. But let's move on. But also, story is another big thing. Story is really important for a lot of people. People want that engaging, cinematic, kind of movie realism to their games. I've noticed a lot recently, and that's fine. That's a certain style of storytelling, but there's also a lot of different kinds of storytelling in games. The games that kind of remind me of this and kind of give me this vibe are like a lot of the Sony first-party games like God of War, Horizon, Uncharted, and even some like third-party games as well, like the Star Wars Jedi games or Alan Wake or Death Stranding, etc., etc. Those kind of cinematic games that a lot of people are very excited to see in the showcases and all that. Well, those games are still good, don't get me wrong, I'm not roasting on those games or anything, but I want to come back all the way around to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because I mentioned before, gameplay, story, music, that's what makes a game for me. But where does Tears of the Kingdom fall into this? Because I've been rambling on about what makes a game good, what do I look for, what do other people look for, and here's the thing, I've been seeing so many people online saying Tears of the Kingdom is overrated, Tears of the Kingdom is not on that AAA standard, the game looks bad, it runs bad, it feels clunky, it feels weird, it doesn't have that engaging kind of cinematic approach to it, and again, you can have your opinions, you can say whatever you want to say, but there is no other video game like this. And when I say that, I mean the fact that this is an open world video game. Many open world video games feel lifeless and boring and redundant and repetitive. Those two words really come into mind when I think of open world games. Redundant meaning like a lot of the things that you can do in the world are very useless, and there's just a lot of fluff in the content in open world games. There's just a lot of padding. Repetitive, of course, you see games where you open up the map and it's just a bunch of markers everywhere and all that, and it just feels overwhelming, honestly. Well, yesterday I put a whole bunch of markers on my map in Tears of the Kingdom, but I put them myself. I didn't have anyone else put them. But that's the thing, Tears of the Kingdom is the best open world game, in my opinion, because of its approachability, and there's a lot of things to do in this world, and they're all beneficial, they're all important, and all important in the sense that every single thing you find in this world really helps you on your journey. Maybe you find a shrine, maybe you find a geoglyph, maybe you find a Korok, maybe you find just random wooden planks and wheels and random stuff laying around, and you just ultra hand it together to make a vehicle, and you realize that making this vehicle has helped you cross a high mountain, a snowy cliff, a sandy beach, or a large body of water that you can't swim across. And that's so interesting because a lot of people are again saying Tears of the Kingdom is nothing special, it's just Minecraft, it's just Gary's mod. Well, Gary's mod and Minecraft are very catered experiences to building and crafting. Building and crafting is not a very important thing in Tears of the Kingdom, and that's a very hot take here. I am someone who completed this game and only really used Ultra Hand majority of the time in the shrines when I really needed to. Otherwise, I had only about 2 or 3 Ultra Hand creations that I would summon from my auto build, and it was just my giant spring to give me a makeshift Rivali's Gale, and I made a unicycle to get me around quicker when I didn't have a horse, and of course I made the flying bike / flying machine thing. Otherwise, I didn't really use Ultra Hand much, but what I loved about this Ultra Hand mechanic, this Ultra Hand system that they have incorporated, is it makes the world feel even more alive. The game feels even more alive with all the things you can do and interact with. You can blend and mesh anything together, and that's my thing about this game, is reusing the same map was a very genius idea because the traversal, the exploration is night and day with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And again, I have not seen any other open world game do this. I've not seen any other open world game have a very unique style of traversal. And another thing I have not seen any other open world game do is its verticality. I have never been able to, in an open world game, jump from the sky, like really high up in the sky, down into the surface, drop down into a chasm, and go all the way down deep into the underground depths. Like, how genuinely awesomely cool is that? It's so awesome. And again, it's crazy that people are roasting and criticizing Tears of the Kingdom for being on the Switch, yet, and I can't do this on a game on the PS5. I'm shocked. Like, there's so much verticality in this game, and games on the PS5, on my PC, I can't do this. Why? Why can't I do this? Why hasn't anyone thought about this? This is an idea open for grabbing and kind of using and utilizing ever since Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles X had crazy verticality with the skill, and again, no other open world game really dabbled in this verticality. Breath of the Wild did, of course, but that's also a Nintendo game like Xenoblade Chronicles X. Horizon Forbidden West did, but I have seen a lot of gameplay of Forbidden West, and there's not much happening up in the sky. So I also have to complete that game. I have to go back and play more of it, but there is so much to do in the sky, so much to do in the surface, so much to do in the depths. So that's just the gameplay. But on top of that, the story is very good. The story is very immersive. The music is very moving and beautiful and amazing. And so is the story. And of course, it's not gonna be like The Last of Us. It's not gonna be like Death Stranding, because this is a fantasy game. This is a fantasy game in a fantasy universe with fantasy characters. So people saying that this is not on the level of AAA mastery, well, I would also have to ask the question, where does this go then? If this is doing things that other video games are not doing, if this is making people in the video game industry, video game developers, video game publishers actually look at this game and say, hey, why didn't we do this? Why can't we do this? If it's making people ask this question, then why can't it stand toe-to-toe with every other open world game, every other AAA game? And that is what makes this game so successful, I think. Of course, it's doing things that no other game is doing in its open world genre, but it is adding so much creativity to the mix. It is adding so much newness to the mix of the Zelda formula, and it's also very, very approachable. I loved Elden Ring last year, but there are a lot of people who just really couldn't get into Elden Ring because of the difficulty, because of the somewhat less fantastical elements of the world in Elden Ring. Zelda is just more of an approachable game, and what's amazing about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is many people are buying these games, many people are playing these games, but some people are not even doing the story. They're not even doing the story. They're just building stuff and making mechs and making flying machines and making flying robots. And I think that's the biggest thing with Nintendo games, is there's no one real way to play these games. There's so many things you can do in a particular Nintendo game. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you can do crazy strategic things and kill enemies in the weirdest way possible. You can do speed runs, you can play with the physics, you can create vehicles. Likewise, Super Mario Odyssey, you can play with all the weird cap physics and the cap movements and the cap attacks, and that's a whole nother subset of the game that I have never even gotten into. Metroid Dread has the challenge runs, the speed runs, and the 100% completion of that game, and that's another subset of the game itself. Xenoblade Chronicles, all the games have the challenge modes and so many other things which you can do in the game to play it differently than other people. And I think that's what makes Nintendo games so special, is because they're not only for a specific group of people who like visuals, who like high fidelity games, who like realism and cinematics in the games, but it's for everyone. Anyone can pick up a Nintendo game and find some enjoyment in it. As cynical, as resistant, as stubborn as they may be, they can find enjoyment in at least some of the games in the Nintendo Switch catalog. And Tears of the Kingdom is just the best of the best, I think. It has fantastic gameplay. The story is unlike any other game in the Zelda series in some ways. And of course, the music is outstanding. So for me, for Nishquick, it's a great game. But also, for everyone else out there, there's a beautiful world to explore. The world design, the world that is built and changed over the past couple years in Hyrule, the depths, the Sky Islands, it's all a visual treat. Sure, it's not at 4K, it's not running at 60 FPS, but it's still a visual treat, and when you think about it, it's running on this 5-year-old or 6-year-old Nintendo Switch hardware, and you think to yourself, Nintendo are absolute wizards for doing this. They're absolute wizards for making this game run stably on the Nintendo Switch hardware, and they did it really, really, really well. So I really have to hand it to them. So this game is not only a very approachable game, not only is it a game design and engineering masterpiece, but I think it's got a lot of what a lot of people want in video games and what a lot of people look for in video games. So yeah, just let me know in the comments below, why do you think Tears of the Kingdom is so successful? Do you think it'll be the most popular and the highest selling Legend of Zelda game of all time when it's all said and done? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day and go play some great games today. Maybe if you're done with Tears of the Kingdom like I am, just go ahead and 100% it. Get all the shrines, get all the light roots. That's what I'm doing right now. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquick. Thank you so much for watching that video. And if you enjoyed it, check out these 2 videos on the left, and if you aren't subscribed, why not hit that subscribe button on the way out? I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day and see you later.